So I just have to share this little tidbit, this thought, this moment. Okay, I'm gonna do a video. Today is Sunday. Normally on Sundays, well, every day I wake up, I pray, have a conversation with God, take a moment to really be quiet and listen and hear for whatever it is that He wants me to focus on that day, that week. Pay attention to certain words that come within that conversation, that moment of meditation, that moment of quietness. And so today being Sunday, have church. Even though I'm not physically going to a building, I'm still having church. And so woke up this morning and did what I normally do. Wake up, have a conversation with God. Thank Him for allowing me to see another day, breathe on my own, walk on my own, talk on my own, all of that. And then I watched church online, Morningstar Baptist Church. I watched a little bit of Transformation Church this morning. And then a friend of mine's had reached out to me yesterday. Shout out to Fenna. And said that her and some singers were going to be doing a live worship. She asked me to come because I have a tripod. They were asking me to bring a tripod. I brought it. Cool. And before all this, once again, I have the conversation with God, and I have been feeling this pull about just being more intentional, more committed to this life that I'm living, what God has placed on me, purpose, and just being very intentional. Writing, I've been journaling consistently for the last 3 years, and just being very, very intentional. And my decision to be celibate, and I've been celibate for the last 3 years, which I haven't really shared that publicly with a lot of people. Not to say I've been ashamed, but it's just something that I've never felt the need to really publicly say, but I have no problem saying it. I made the decision 3 years ago, and I said, I'll be honest, this is a whole nother conversation. I said that decision is a very tough one that I have to commit to daily. But needless to say, I've been thinking about all of that. My commitment to God in terms of being celibate and waiting, my commitment to just waiting and just making sure I don't go before God's time. And today, Bishop talked about commitments. The topic was commitments. I was watching a couple of YouTube videos, and this girl who I follow. Like I said, I was watching a YouTube video, and she mentioned about, her walk with God and also being celibate, and just making sure, understanding the importance of when we live a certain life, when we live a certain way, it's about doing it to honor God. It's about being an example, allowing other people to see God in you. And that same messaging was also mentioned in the bishop's sermon today. Even Pastor Mike from Transformation Church had mentioned about when it comes to dating and making sure that you are intentional with the person you have in your life, that you are a representation of what God wants for you to be, that people can see God in your actions, and that your actions don't deter from, people basically don't have to question what it is with you when they see your actions, because they know what you stand for. I say all this to say, today I just left not too long ago this live, very impromptu worship with some friends from my church and some other singers from another church. And the person who put this together, Tamar, I always thought Tamar had a beautiful voice. Always thought she had a beautiful voice. And I was very much behind the scenes letting them sing. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful example of what it is to, one, just obey, because They all could have said like, no, I'm not coming out here singing in the middle of coronavirus or whatever the case may be. I'm not doing all that. But just to see the obedience, to see the willingness to worship, and us being young adults, most of us, I'm assuming, are in our early to mid 30s or about to be in that age range. We're all in a similar age range. And just to see that level of worship being conducted in a very impromptu fashion. I was recording off of Tamar's phone and another friend of mine's for Instagram Live, and seeing the comments, and you could tell at one point it was genuine, very genuine worship. Had to get some Starbucks because it was a little chilly out. I see what it is when you set your mind intentionally and make a decision to move a certain way. And even in the course of the day, even in the course of your day, you'll find your day moving in the way you intended. And when you follow God and He shows you or tells you or nudges you in a certain direction and you obey, what unfolds from that, most of the time you don't know. I didn't know 24 hours ago that I'd be sitting in a garage parking lot in a mall, listening to my friends sing beautifully, might I add, blending well together, and having worship. And like that level of intention, that level of just, I could cry right now. Ooh. When you live for God and you make a point to obey. And I got a chance to see it from the other side today, as small as it was of them worshiping. And I just felt like God was saying, you see what happens when you worship, when you obey, when you just listen to God. It's a beautiful thing. And it's moments like that in the times that we're living in right now that people really need to see. That people really, really need to see. Whew! My God. When you just let God lead. When you just let God lead. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But I should have said this to Tamar, but I probably would have started crying in front of her if I really would have came up to her and told her like what that experience really was for me specifically today. That level of worship was absolutely, absolutely beautiful. So, on that note, I hope y'all have an amazing Sunday. But it was well worth it. So, until next time.